we have performed second meeting with IQVIA, which is CRO, which is important CRO for the clinical trials. So we had approval from ethical committees to support the clinical trials of the Janssen pharmaceutical company for the flu. And also we are going to continue next year. So this is another important goal we have obtained. And the third important update is that we had already a meeting with the most important company, private hospital group, which is Gruppo San Donato. And we are discussing about our support for the patient journey from the home to the hospital for the medical consultation. So this is these are the new important updates.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, I just want to add something. Thanks for updates. It's interesting, all those confirmations. So the last test related to hospitals, related to pharma companies that have been, let's say, conclude or are ongoing in Italy. We wanted to give this update to you also to understand if you feel this kind of opportunity also in the market that you have analyzed, and we would be very happy to have your suggestion also on this side. So hospitals, so it's a B2B2C, you remember B2B2C model, that we had a very good response in the first 4 months here in Italy, and we think it can be let's say, export as a model also in other countries. And so we are expecting your suggestion about it. And as Vanessa said before, we are working on our website. So when you go to www.ultraspecialisti.com, you will see our landing page. And analyzing also your the answer that you have collected from doctors and also from patients, we want to ask you first a couple of questions that can be also very useful for the work we are doing at the moment and for our next investments, because we think that you have a fresh mind and you have a very, let's say, large possibility to understand better different kind of, since you are not very much in, so we appreciate very much your collaboration. So there was a couple of questions regarding the, let's say, the source of or the input of why the people should, or if the people should suggest telemedicine or the platform like Ultraspecialisti to their patients. And let's say, summarizing in the two big categories, we have online. So I'm searching the referral, or I'm searching the information online, or I'm asking to my doctor. Based on these two macro, let's say, group, I decide which doctor, which specialist to contact. Okay, so we are very interested in having some deeper insight about online searching. So when you are doing your survey or you are doing your analysis, it will be very interesting to understand if there are some specific information, some specific why they choose that specialist. So what is the moment, what is the information, what is the word that make them take this kind of decision? So this is the first question. The second, sorry? Yeah, suggestion. You want directly, Vasil, is it possible to have some answer directly, or it's...
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we have quite a few students who seem to be interested in talking to you directly as well, so, but yes. So are you trying to add someone to the conversation?
Yes, if there is any volunteer want to answer, or
sure, yes. Let's maybe do the following. So we have a few questions that have been sent to us by email as well as here in the question and answer window. But we have a number of students who are watching us live. So those of you students who are watching live, if you would like to talk directly to the company, just raise your hand. You have a button there on the bottom of the screen that looks like a raised hand. So if you would like to talk to us, raise your hand. We will add you to the panel and we will be able to talk to you directly. Okay. So let me start with a few questions that several students have been asking. One, competition. So the teams have sent us a number of emails saying that they were trying to find other companies that offer the same service, and they did not find anything like this in many countries. So if you were asked who your competitors are there companies that do the same thing? And if so, can you name those companies?
Sorry, Vasil, I'm not sure.
Competition, who are your competitors, essentially?
Because they have tried, the students tried.
They cannot find anything that is like yours.
Okay.
So if we can help them on that, we have some slides previously done.
Yes, we have a slide with Italian competition, but we find out that there is some other sites, especially in there is a couple in Europe, 2 or 3 websites, and a couple in United States. If you want, Vasil, we can send you an email with those data. Maybe I don't have them
here.
with me
right,
here.
Right.
We can follow with an email with those names.
Okay. The important thing is you are saying that there are other companies that do something like this, right? So it seems like there is some competition, so students who couldn't find anything probably just didn't look hard enough. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes. In fact, they are not. They are different websites. In the majority of the companies are providing booking. So they connect patients with the doctors and provide the booking of medical visits. As you can see, I don't know if you can see this slide now. Okay, so you can see that in the minority of them, they are offering online medical opinion. But the point is that the mainly difference is that this medical opinion might be generic, a very generic one. So it's not always, in the majority of these cases, the patients do not submit to the doctor all documents, but they submit the question, so the query. Yeah. So the doctor then give them a general advice, and in the majority of the cases, the next step is come to my office and I'm going to visit you. It's like a capturing of the clients, you know, the majority of the cases. So the real competitors that really provide the medical consultations are, at our knowledge, very few.
Yes. There are some hospitals that developed in United States, developed this kind of services, but we do not actually know how much is this service pushed, because this is some of the services that they offer.
Moreover, in some situations, some polyambulatories, so when there are some sites in which more specialists are working together, then they offer the possibility to receive the documentation and then to support the patients. But it's usually, how to say, the continuous of care with the territories, not in a broad and huge medical consultations for the somehow said unknown patients. You know, it's mainly for those patients who will come to be visited in the ambulatory, or for the patients who just have been already visited and then they have follow-up. So it's like a support. It's support of connection, but it's not a really medical consultation.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, sorry, and based on that, the doctors who are working with us suggested us to publish this data.
Right.
Because in fact, there's two main issues. So is this possible? One of the question is because we are not used on that, and in fact, even a lot of students also asked us last time, is this possible? So the answer is yes. And the second is this friendly? So how is the connection between the doctor and the patients? Is it cold, or it's really empathic? So the point that we have observed, and I think that should be published, that it is empathic, because we living in the area where we use Facebook, Instagram, or other facilities to talk about ourselves. And we are used on this language. So in the same time, you propose the same language in the interaction with the doctors, but also you offer to the doctor your medical documents. And doctors usually write the consultation, but it's then this after the consultation, the interaction between the doctor and with the patients continue. So that means that there is an interaction which it's oblige us to write a lot, and today we are not used to write a lot.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Several teams asked for feedback with their choice of the new markets, and I had to group them together. So it seems like when the teams are thinking about new countries where Ultraspecialisti model may be popular, they think either about rich countries where healthcare is good but extremely expensive. For example, the United States. So the United States has a good healthcare system, good doctors, but it's so outrageously expensive that the students feel that there will be enough customers here who will be interested in your services just to save money. Or another group of teams believe that the best market for you would be in the poor countries where there is no good healthcare system and they have nobody to go to. And in that case, they may use a teledoctor to get the services that are simply not available in their country. So would you say this is a good reasoning? Are those the two types of markets that you potentially can be working with, or there are other criteria that you would be using when selecting the new potential market?
I personally agree. In fact, also the last year we were discussing about that United States is an important market because, as you said, the health is very costly.
Very costly.
Cost a lot. And if you don't, and also there's different questions about the insurance and so on, and having the opportunity to pay for your medical consultations, to have somebody that wants to take care about you, and it is not so costly. Yeah. I think it's maybe very useful. For the poor countries, we can divide probably developing countries from the poor countries. I think that for the poor countries might be of interest to create special projects where there are third part to pay, not the patients. And I think the opportunity to find these solutions might be through the grants and obviously, how to say, some other, some patients association or donors also. While in the developing countries, I think where the patients may pay for this type of consultations, I think that we empower them with the knowledge and give them opportunity to find the solutions, because the first important thing for every person is to have right information about the health status. Because without this, they are not able to obtain the solutions.
Yes, I also agree. I just want to add one thing. Analyzing the answer from the survey, we was very curious to understand, since we are in Italy and it is like across the sea, some of the patients and also some of the doctors expressed their doubt because of the missing certification of the knowledge of the doctors. So we wanted to understand better if there are some suggestions how to present this kind of service to United States market. Is there any, what can be the good driver that can overcome this kind of obstacle?
Right.
Yes,
regulatory point of view is the question.
Yes, also emotionally.
Yeah. If I may, I would like to share with you a story that happened to me literally a few days ago, just to illustrate how desperately the American market needs a service like yours. So my son was trying to cut a loaf of bread, and I may have told that story last time, but we just got the bill, so it's kind of now very, So he was trying to cut a frozen loaf of bread and cut his hand. And so I didn't know if it's a bad cut or not because it was deeper than usual, but the blood was not really coming, much. So I didn't know what to do, and I really wanted to have a teledoctor to kind of look at his hand and tell us, is it something that we can just put a Band-Aid on, or do we need some stitches? In the end, we decided to go to the emergency room because it was a weekend, it was late at night, all the doctors, regular doctors were closed. We finally got the bill, so he spent about an hour in emergency, but the actual procedure took about 15 minutes. And this is the bill we got a few days ago. I'm not sure if you can see it. So it's $756, and that's after the insurance, because the actual bill was $1,000, and then the insurance paid $234, and my portion is 700 and something, 756. Had I had to tell the doctor, so it turns out it was nothing, so it was something that probably a Band-Aid would have been sufficient. Had I had to tell the doctor, could I call someone, pay, I don't know how much it would cost, $100 for the service or something, it would have saved me a lot of time and ultimately a lot of money. But I didn't know, I couldn't call anyone, so I had to go to the emergency, and now I have almost $1,000 to pay for something that probably was not even necessary in the first place. So I think if you were present in the American market, if there was a phone number that I can call, or Skype phone, or I don't know, app that I can connect with the doctor through, I bet most of the clients would be calling you first before going to the doctor and paying so much money, because here the prices are just outrageous. Yeah.
I agree with you. In fact, based on this other cases, very similar cases, Ultraspecialisti has been built, because when I have realized that I was receiving as an oncologist data by WhatsApp, and I was able to give them the right support, what to do for some patients, parents, or friends, I have realized this opportunity. And if this is cheaper than what is already or today offline, I think we should find a way to give the opportunity for the patients.
Yeah.
I totally agree, because the person who don't know, because they are not medical doctors, or they don't have experience, how they can decide what is important and what is not important. And also myself, it happens to myself that I have to contact my colleagues, for example, for my daughter or for my parents, giving them some photos, some videos, asking them what to do or not to do. I have parents far away from Milan. They are living in Croatia. And different times I receive their photo, their videos, to give them advices, which are important, because otherwise they go to first aid or whatever. So probably, in fact, there are also different conditions in which maybe Ultraspecialisti may be useful. So I agree absolutely with you, and probably we should seriously think how to work on that.
Yeah. Eliza Pierantoni and several other students are asking about health insurance. Is it possible in the countries where you operate or in the new markets to use health insurance to pay for teledoctors?
So the health insurance, now there is lack of normatives for the moment, but for example, talking about the European countries, they are trying to introduce some specific indications that must be then they have to enter into all countries. So for the moment, it is not possible to have health insurance to cover this, but private health insurance, yes. So national health insurance are not going to cover, while private health insurance might cover this, and some insurance already have this voice.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this.
Several teams have shared with me that they believe the insurance companies would be very interested in using your services because that may cut their cost. And so for them, it's economically viable to use cheaper and faster teledoctors and second opinion rather than then pay a lot of money for the treatment, when the problem becomes too big or when the diagnosis is not correct. So they believe that the insurance companies actually will be interested in you because it makes economic sense for them.
Yes, probably is also a question of time because we have tried to communicate with the insurance company and they are interested. They just don't know how to promote it.
Right.
Probably it depends also of the maturity of the market. So we spoke here in Italy, even with international companies, but the people here in Milan, so Italians, and so they agree with us that it has it gives a huge opportunities to people, but they actually do not know how to promote it, how to make them, let's say, acquire to buy the package.
Yeah.
Probably one of the proof of concepts might be for the very simple conditions like vacation.
Yeah.
Start with that.
One more question, if I may, about geography. So there are several questions here about geography. One student is asking, would you prefer the United States or Switzerland? Other countries just say if you have any preferences. So when it comes to new markets, do you have a specific preference or wherever business takes you, you're willing to go?
The second one. Obviously, we are also searching for the partners because otherwise we should grow very rapidly. So
right.
We would like also to, it would be of our interest to have proposals and also partners to make this possible because obviously we need people from that countries to be interested in developing our projects with us.
Also, there are several questions related to your kind of two-sided nature of your platform. On the one hand, you need to attract as many patients as possible, but at the same time, you also need to attract as many doctors as possible because if you have only one side, it will not work. And so we have several questions related to that. One, do you find it more difficult to become popular with patients or with doctors? And two, how do you market to those two different audiences because they're very different, right?
So what is from our experience that we made in the last 2 years, we thought that it's important to let patients know about the service. While now we have understood very well that we need to promote doctors, we need to promote the trust of the patients, giving the opportunity to the patients to know more things about the doctors, not only about their professional life, because they can find this from CV, but also as a person. So we need doctors to talk more about themselves, give the opportunity to the patient to choose that doctors that is most suitable for him, not only from a disease point of view, but also from emotional point of view. What we need to work now is to work on doctor digital branding, but digital branding not promoting doctors, but giving the possibility to the patients to enter their life, professional and personal life more. So this is important. From doctor's point of view, obviously we are growing with a slowly rate because we had to set up the platform while acquiring the doctor. So if we acquire doctor from a new area of medicine, then we have to open this area of medicine. But if we open a new area, for example, abdominal surgery, you think, for example, that we need 1 or 2 or 3 abdominal surgeons, but abdominal surgeons are different one from each other. There is abdominal surgeon who is more working on pancreatic, one is more working on colon, the third one is more working on liver. some is working on transplantation. So when you are opening new area, you have to open different specialists that are able to really to realize the medical consultation online. So I think that so from one side we have to work on this area. From other side, then we have to let these new doctors how to say visible in an open way for the patients. For example, I have realized that from my point of view, I'm a lung specialist. People now know more about me because I'm on Ultraspecialisti.
Right.
They recognize me and they also know what I'm going to say, because now I'm communicating a lot through internet, social media, and now they know a lot about me and they come more confident. Also not only online, but also offline. So this is new area in which also medical communication and medical offer have to adapt.
Yes, and regarding also the number of specialists, we are following also the site analytics, so we know how many, let's say, visualizing or how many click we have in a different pathologic areas. So how big the interest is. So we know that at the first place we have oncology. So this is the reason that we covered 98% of subspecialists in oncology. So we have the specialists for every smaller area of oncology. And then we know that on the second place is colon, testa colon.
It's on the second place now. It's important internal medicine, because you need some patients, they don't know which disease they have. So we need medical internists, which are the broadest from the knowledge point of view specialists. Then they can address the patients to the best journey they have to do. Others are also orthopedic patients, but also surgical, because sometimes they offer them different possibility, different type of surgery, and the patients have to choose. Because now we are living also in the area of how to say, legal introduction, so the legal problems in the medical area. So the doctors, sometimes they don't want to choose. They offer them 2 or 3 possibilities, like you may do this type of surgery, or you may do that type of surgery, or you may do, for example, radiotherapy. Please choose. And how you can choose? It's impossible. Right. So that's the reason why. So, but it's in oncology, internal medicine, orthopedical area, and then surgery.
One team is asking for feedback on this idea. So like you just said, building trust between the doctors and patients is very important, especially when it's all online. And so one team is trying to propose that maybe you should also organize, not only have like a personal profile of the doctor page, you know, something that people get to know him or her as a person, but maybe they say you should also organize like little conferences or maybe presentations or speeches by the doctors, like TED Talk type of things. And they feel that will allow the doctors to present themselves more as experts. Do you think this is a viable idea, or do you think it will just cost a lot of money and will not make much difference?
I think this is one of the most important topics today. So how to communicate. This is a big issue, because we don't have somebody to copy. We have to create a new language, new way of presenting doctors. So what is important to be promoted? What is important to let people know? We don't know that. I don't know if it is important to say that a doctor has been on Harvard, or that doctors have been volunteering in Africa. We don't know. Right. What is important? How many intervention they have been done, or how it is talking, how he or she is talking with the patients, or what is the empathic part of. So I think this is very important topic, as well as the geographical evolution of Ultraspecialisti. Because we met last year, and 1 year, nothing happened in other countries. So it'd be great if some of the teams propose some solution of how to enter in a specific geographical area. We would be really happy to work on that. And also, we would be really happy to work with some of teams if they want to work with us on communication.
Yeah, yeah. There is a question from Amanda Brass. She is asking, how long does it take for a patient from the time they make a request to speak with an Ultraspecialisti doctor to the time they actually receive some treatment or contact or information?
5 days.
5 days. Because we have this in a contract with the doctors. They cannot go more than 5 days. In 5 days, doctor has to finalize the consultation with the patient. Yeah. And then after that, doctors, based on our contract with the contracts with the doctors, they have to be to clarify and to talk with the patients if they have some questions. And moreover, the doctors have to be engaged to support patients to obtain the therapy, which has been suggested or offered.
Another student is asking, do you provide then a 24/7 service? And so given that it may be up to 5 days before the client gets the results, so does it mean that currently we cannot call and get immediate advice from a doctor on call? So it's not something that is done instantly, is it?
It happened. It happened because in some occasions the patients ask for the urgent support, and we have covered, but we suggested then, so it happened that they had to choose between two different type of surgery, breast surgery, conservative and radical, and we get two opinions, one from the surgeon and one from the plastical surgeon, so they were able to choose. So probably what the person who made us a question wanted to know if we can create an area for somehow we can call it first aid area.
Right.
And this might be it is something that we were discussing also with some insurances, because they would be very interested in that. Because this first aid is very useful, because maybe the front desk of triage when you decide what you have to do, and I think that a lot of patients and people have urgently need to be, how to say, to know if this is an urgent problem, or if this problem might be solved in next few days or weeks or months. This is also a very important question. Probably we should work on that.
But do I understand correctly? So at this time you specialize not in first aid, you specialize in serious diagnostics and complicated cases, right?
For the moment, we are supporting chronic illnesses. So when the patients have to choose between two different therapies, or they didn't find the right therapy for them. But because we started with oncology, now while we are opening new areas, so internal medicine and surgery, we are thinking about this area of first aid. So now we are thinking and discussing about that, because also the mentality of the surgeons are completely different that from, how to say, medical doctors, not surgeons.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Now, several students are asking about a mobile app. So many teams compare you to essentially Uber or Airbnb. It just, instead of riders and drivers or guests and hosts, you connect doctors and patients. So several questions related to that. One, do you have a mobile app where people can go and either sign up to be as a doctor or sign up to receive service? And then question number two, how is that communication happening at this time? So how do people sign up for your help, and then how do doctors then communicate with the patients? You did mention WhatsApp, but I assume there is a different platform where the initial contact.
Yeah.
Right?
So for the moment, we have started with the platform that is based on PC. So we use personal computers.
Mm-hmm.
So I will first explain how it's functioning, and then I will answer the question about the mobile phone. Okay. So when you enter on internet, you write www.ultraspecialisti.com, then you enter in a page that is acquiring to register. After the registration, you enter in a reserved area, and you can choose the medical area of your interest. If you enter surgery, for example, then you select abdominal surgery, neurosurgery, orthopedic, whatever. And then you can, entering that area, you choose, there are different doctors available with their CV. You identify the doctor, you click on the name, and then there is opened another page, which is asking you to answer multiple choices. There are a lot of questions regarding your health status. What do you eat? How you sleep? If you use the drugs, if you whatever, and then you can upload your documents and make a question to the doctors. After you have finalized, and obviously you pay for the consultation. After that, in email goes to the doctors and to the doctor. Doctor see there is a consultation, so I see it on my mobile phone, and I see that I have to go and enter my private area. I enter my private area. I can enter also from my mobile phone, and I can see the anamnesis. I can see also the PDF video, and but what is less for the moment is by mobile phone is not easy to see the imaging. For example, CT scan or MRI, and then after I visit all the documentations, I evaluate the whole documentation. I write my my opinion, and then an email will advise the patient that there is my consultation already on the platform. Patients will enter the reserved area and is going to find my opinion, which is usually 2 pages of explanation what is my opinion. After that, he is able or she is able to ask the queries. Then we go in a chat, which is also in a reserved area, and there we are going to have different question or answers until we finalize. Sometimes happen that then we have a call, and also some of the patients also came to my hospital and they have received the treatment. Some other patients receive their treatment close to their home. So from mobile point of view, now with our partner, technological partner, we are going to improve also the possibility to see the imaging from the cell phone. So one part of the platform may be seen and used by mobile phone, but from a radiological point of view, because you don't have a lot of place to see very well the things, but we are optimizing this now.
Yeah. We are almost out of time, but there is one more important question that we need to ask. What are the things that need to happen for you to enter a new market? So let's say, for example, you establish that the United States is a viable new market. What happens next? How exactly will your entry into the market happen? Whom do you need to talk to? Like, what needs to happen to establish a presence in this market? And I think the reason the students are asking that is because they're trying to help you, to bring you some business leads, and they're trying to understand sort of what kind of decisions and who needs to make them. Would it be hospitals? Would it be insurance companies? Would it be clients? Would it be IT solutions? So what needs to be resolved in order for you to operate in a new market?
Well, the website is already, let's say, prepared for acquiring an English patient or better, and acquiring the patient in English language.
Right.
And also the doctors, we have selected some of them who speak and write perfectly in English. So regarding the service, there is, we can say, it's we do not see the direct problem with this side. We are trying to understand if the obstacle is, for example, I'm receiving the consultation from the doctor who is not American, so I want to see the face and the name who is that is coming directly from some American citizens.
So how to communicate this? Probably this is the first step. How to communicate this service in United States? I think this may be very easy way to test how it is going online. And probably another way might be that if there are some some partners, some small hospitals or some polyspecialistic ambulatories where they don't have all type of specialists. So test with this area if they might be interested. Obviously, if you go to MD Anderson, they are going to answer, we have everything we need. So we don't need Ultraspecialisti.
Right.
But obviously, if you talk to the population, probably not everybody may go to the MD Anderson. And probably not everybody should go to the MD Anderson because it's not so important to go there, for example. And for some other, for example, situations like you can imagine cardiosurgical operation or something where probably it might cost a lot in the United States. Maybe that somebody can decide to come in Europe and pay for that because some treatments and some medical activities are cheaper in Europe.
Anyway, the critical point could be cultural approach. We don't know if the American people are able to choose doctors outside their country. No?
But also I think that a lot of Americans are native, come from outside of America.
True,
so I'm not going to be too much conservative from that.
True.
But for us it would be very, very important to test first what we have already online, and then to see if there might be some partners that may be interested to work with us.
Right.
Some cardiologists, for example, for the specific operation, some other specialists that are not so vertically expert.
Yeah.
Some tumoral doctors, for example.
And what are the channels that can promote this kind of services? So is it offline? Is it online? What kind of words? Papers, things like this. It would be really of great help.
So should we go in the underground and leave the paper communication of this service? Should we communicate online? So all this.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
We have, like giving this brochure in English version, explaining them. So should we give this where we should in pharmacies should we go? So this might be of very interesting test that might be done with the group which is willing to try this.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yes. All right. Well, so we're pretty much out of time. Thank you so much for being here with us. I think I have answered all of the questions that came our way. Some of them are repetitive, but I think we've answered all of them. Ultraspecialisti is the 4th most popular company out of 15 this semester. So you're one of the most popular companies. And I was a little surprised about that because it's a difficult model. It's not something that people see every day, but it seems like students believe in you enough to select your challenge. So I think that's a good sign. And so it will be another month or so before the students are fully done with their reports, but I hope they will bring you some interesting ideas and possibly even business leads. Thank you so much. You're doing a very important job. Unlike companies that sell, I don't know, like food and clothing, they're just there to make money. In your case, you're actually doing something socially important. And so I truly hope that you will do a good job.
We will be very happy if we can create with your students opportunities for the patients and opportunity for new jobs. So
exactly. Yeah, you create jobs, you make people healthier. So if in the process you also make some money, everybody wins. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rasa. Thank you also to your students. Bye.